Alright, so brake pipe goes down from the splitter, over on the back, goes along the top of the rail to keep it out of the way of everything. I'm going to bend these little tabs around the rail, and we'll just cut the front part of it off and plug weld basically them on there, because we've got no room for bolts and screws and stuff and all that sort of shaped mess. It then shapes its way around the back of there, out the way, up over the turret. I'm going to put one in the same sort of fashion as I've done down there. I'll put a bolt through, probably just thread it through the thick plate there, and then down to our union. So that's technically all the brake line. Well, that is all the brake lines done. All that remains to do is to fit the calipers to the hubs, which don't exist yet, and bleed the system. But we're not going to be putting any fluid in the system until the car's painted, really, because we'd have to take stuff off for it to be painted, and then fluid would be everywhere, which is not ideal with paint. Torx brakes, just for a moment. Minisport 4 pots, easily available, parts easy to come by, pads easy to come by. They fit, I know they work, and I got some braided hoses with them, as you've probably seen in a previous episode, me working out the fitment of these. I've got to do the near side now at some point. It's going to be much trickier, but by the by. I've got these because they're the biggest that goes behind 12-inch wheels, which we've got. As I say, also standard fit, easy to get them off the shelf. They also come in an amazing colour. I'd like to do all the suspension parts in that colour, but maybe on a winter overhaul in 10 years' time. So that's the front brakes. The rear brakes are going to be not vented drums, fin drums things. I'll show those in a second. Finally got all the red paint off that I possibly could, with all millions of Dremel bits and tiny little wire wheels. Basically, we're going to go to Centur in Swindon, nearly Sweden then, to get them just blasted for a tenner for a pair. Thanks guys for offering that, but the week I was taking them down, everything went off and they shut. So we've then a couple of layers of thick primer, high build primer, because there were still lots of scratches and stuff from removing the paint, and now we're going to paint them. Some orange E-Tech paint. I'm limited to what I can get this time in the restrictions, and then I'll be spraying them with a little bit of silver spray while I'm spraying with orange to try and get a little bit of a metallic effect. We were going to have them anodized or plated or whatever it is that the front calipers had. Not going to happen now, and these are holding back the rear end having wheels on. So let's get them painted, do what I can, make them look somewhat orange. Drums are perfectly fine, there's hardly any weight on the back here. We're going to put the fin ones on just because they came on. I like them, they're lighter because we need less weight on the back. No, more unsprung weight's good. They've also got spacers in them, which is handy. I have no reason to doubt these bearings, but going by the rest of it, I am just going to pop the cap and just check the condition of the grease. If the grease has gone all nasty, it's gone white, that means moisture's got in, we'll repack them. So let's have a quick look at that, and then we'll put the drums on. So there they are. As suspected, the bearing grease wasn't great. Certainly hadn't been done right first time either. I might show you in a second me doing the other side. Us guys these days, we just fit them, don't we? We don't think about having to pack bearings. So I'm assuming the apprentice that did this one didn't do anything like that either, because there wasn't enough grease in there. So we've repacked that, torqued it. Well, it's not torqued it, but you adjust it by hand until you get the right thrust, pressure, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, orange drums are on. Definitely going to have to get them off at some point and change them to orange. Maybe at final fit now. Not sure I'm going to be able to go back. And I did make a massive boo-boo when I fitted this rear end and scratched. Yeah, not great. So redo that. Anyway, they're on. Time to test fit the wheels, I think. Let's see what it looks like. And also at this point we can then get the width away from the arch and all of the arches, because we'll probably be banging some holes in it to fit them. So that wants doing before we paint it. So let's get the wheels on, see what it looks like. So there we have it. Definitely need to change that red. You can't really see it, I suppose. That red behind there bothers me. There we go. She's on. Something's up with these special, very expensive, in my opinion, wheel nuts that I've got from Minispares, but they've been good so far. So either they've sent me the extra long ones by mistake, we need extra short ones, because there's not enough threads or thickness of wheel for these to work, so I've spaced one out quite badly just to at least get them to fit. Right threads at least, but just need about 50,000 more washers to make them work, which I'm not doing that. So there must be another length to go on. Anyway, looks good. Oh, and width-wise, very nice. We'll take a quick measurement of that and check on some arches that I've got an idea on. I don't want anything massive, and quite subtle. So that's good. Let's go and do the other side then. So these little clips up here are the dumbest thing on a Mini. So I'm just going to do what all these clips need doing to them. Right. And then do the smart thing, fit a 16mm snap ring or spring clip, depending how you look at it. Alright folks, so handbrake's in. Gonna need a new little grommet thing there, but they're like £3. It's this, just put some light on. It's this little pad there. Might put some riv nuts in there, but it's a little rubber pad that goes just to obviously seal water coming up, so that's fine. This is fine. This is adjusted up beautifully, all as it should be. And a little clip back there, little 8mm flange to turn the adjuster. Such a simple, perfect design. The other side, it's not looking so good, because the mongs that put this, if you're watching and you put this subframe together, or if you know the person, please go and take a subframe and hit them with it. They obviously put this adjuster in and they were ruining the threads as they did it. But instead of leaving it, you know, removing it, sorry, and fixing it, they just left it. Thanks very much. I've broken off 3 pieces of the shaft so far, welding nuts onto them, and I'm now going to have to drill it out, I think. I presume it must go in this way. There's no way for it to come out this way. So it looks like we'll be spending the next couple of hours drilling out that hardened 13mm, 14mm shaft. Thank you very much. This was a little bit misshapen as well, so we've beaten on it with the hide hammer to straighten it out. I don't know when that happened. We seem to have managed to save the threads inside, I hope so. A little bit of damage occurred here with dremeling and grinding, as you can possibly see, but we'll give that a little coat of paint on final assembly. So we've ordered a new one. They're not great. We'll see what happens. We'll put a couple of grooves on the new threads. You can get titanium ones as well, but apparently they rust up, so we'll put some copper slip in there, and I hope there's enough thread in there to work with. It was a bit of a pain, that. Rather a lot of swarf everywhere now, so we'll clean that up, get on with something else, because I'm walking away from this before I throw it out in the hedge. So, replacement boot from Mini Spares, very kindly sent a replacement, because their original replacement managed to split by just being there for a month. I think it's just because they're the cheap ones, but fair enough, they sent me one, that's good. Got the bits for the handbrake. Oh, actually, we're missing an adjuster. It's good to check the catalogues on Mini Spares, which is useful. And our little seal here, we're going to put a couple of riv nuts in, I think, for those. And this also arrived, which, if you know these Minis well, this is upside down. This actually comes through the other way, but you can't feed it the other way, you have to feed it this way. But because the threads are almost gone, I'm feeding it forwards. And I've done my old trick of cutting a couple of slots in the thread at the beginning, at sort of, what's a third of 360 degrees? 120 degrees. So there's 3 little slots cut in the threads, and then I file them, and it sort of cuts a new thread as it goes. So you do the same process, I can feel it biting, go back a little bit of a turn, and then go forward as you feel it biting, go back a little bit, work it, get lots of oil in there at the same time, etc, etc. And I think it's going, which is good. And then we can flip it out and reverse it. Name the song, name the artist. This feels good now. Wasn't that confident about it, to be honest, but it's come through the side now, so that's good. So let's whip this out. Let's just see what the threads look like, shall we? In and out of focus, crazy time. Right, gotta be careful at this beginning section. Supposed to get out my fingers now. There we go. So, you can see I put slots in, and then I file them down. You can see the little bits of burred metal that collect in them as you go through. So our next job is we're just smooth off the top of that a little bit. Get some cleaning all that off. Clean all the metal out, put lots of copper slip on this, and put it in the correct way, which is that way around. Basically what happens is as you push this in, it pushes on two other bars which slide out, which push on the shoes, which obviously adjust them. Good idea, so long as the numpty that puts them in doesn't cross-thread them. What a load of faff. So you didn't know the mysterious ways of a Mini, then unless I'm to be forgiven, the adjuster nut is under there. It's the shiny one on the other side there, 10mm, but you can't get to it as far as I can see without either taking the pin out or undoing the bolts. It does seem a bit of a foolish design, that, unless I'm missing something, but there we go. That's what the diagrams show. So I've got all the slack out of the wire, and it's not bad. And I just adjusted this one up, so when you look behind, there's the little manual adjuster just there. So we've adjusted that up a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that. They are brand new shoes, so they're going to take some bedding in, and they sound a bit weird when they first go, but this one's got a little bit more to go, so you just get your 8mm. And up in there, turn the light on, you turn that clockwise, which I'm going to need to get some leverage on. There we go. So I've turned that a little bit, and it's much better in my opinion. So I'm just going to give that another tweak, and then we'll try the handbrake on a few clicks and see if this holds these rear wheels. We now handbrake on, wheels not moving, so that's good. Now to sort this out. Originally, I think it was this. Now either there was a plate the other side that this screwed into, because those holes don't do anything, but they're too clean to me to be just rusted out. Either way, I think I'm going to be putting some M5 bolts in or M4 bolts in with some ribs nuts. The rubber's gone on that side, so we have a replacement for that over here somewhere, along with the cutest little bulbs for the dash. So there's our new plate. It's basically, I think it was like 10p more expensive to get it with the plate than the rubber on its own, so I went with that. So let's find the riv nuts and work out what we're going to do. Well, I do come to wonder about who put this rear subframe together. No wonder they're out of business. I obviously never touched a Mini pretty much. Maybe a few little jobs here and there on some Minis from customers in the past. Never this in detail. So when I took the drums off, I just assumed they were correct. But having to take all this off now, the adjuster's all in place, but altogether I thought, let me just get a diagram online. So I found a bunch of pictures, and this is how they're meant to go together. So the springs are sat behind the shoes. You really can't sort of pull them out very much either. The springs just pull them into the slot. There's no pins like they would on modern vehicles. And notice the shoes are actually in opposite. They're identical shoes, but because of the different slots on it, the one is flipped up the other way. You can see that. Now, let me go and show you the other side, which I've just whipped off because of my suspicions. And you'll see they've been fitted completely incorrectly. Springs are this side. The handbrake shoe's in the right place. No wonder they're so loose. I thought it was a bit rubbish, but you sort of trust things, don't you? So I've got to whip these shoes off now and fit them correctly. It does make me worry about these bearings in there, but that's the only thing I can't really take apart. So I just have to just trust them, I guess. Anyway, let's take these apart and put them the right way on, shall we? On and plated up, and it's going to obviously have paint, so we have to take all this off. So it will remain on there loose. We'll put down a bit of bits for final fitment, and that is done. Handbrake on, and wheels hold. So that is rear brakes done. I think the front brakes too, actually. Front brakes also technically done until final fit. I'm not fitting the calipers back on here now. There's no point putting fluid in the system because I need to take the brake master off and the servo. So brakes done. So thanks for watching this episode of Kev. Seems like quite an uneventful finish, but I'm quite happy with that. They look great. So time to make a cup of tea, I think, and we will see you soon. Thanks for watching.